All right. Today I'm excited to host Wade Foster. He's the CEO and founder of Zapier. Today we're going to talk specifically about how Wade runs his staff meeting. We're going to take those processes, turn them into a unique Coda doc, and by the way, we'll connect it to Zapier as well.
Hey folks, I'm Wade. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO here at Zapier. We've been working at this thing for almost 8 years now, and I'm excited to talk a little bit about how we run staff meetings and meeting cultures and make great docs with them.
Brag about the company a little bit.
Business is going well. We have over 4 million customers. We connect with over 1,500 apps, 250 people, and fully distributed, fully remote.
Yeah.
So I think we started as a side project. So my co-founder and I were doing consulting work. We got asked to build these one-off integrations from time to time. And I remember building a WordPress forms plugin that could hook into Salesforce. And my co-founder was like, we've been asked to build these little connector things a couple times. And I bet if we made a sort of clearinghouse where you could connect anything, people would love to use something like that. And so we started working on this thing nights and weekends, and you don't have offices for side projects. So we just got used to working through digital tools, things like Gchat back in the day, GitHub pull requests. Trello was really brand new when we were working on this. So that was kind of our early toolkit. As we started hiring people, we'd moved out to the Bay Area, but all the best people we knew lived back in the Midwest. And so we started hiring remotely, and before you know it, we're a fully remote team.
When you say fully remote, where do you work?
I work out of my home in California, in a home office,
It's amazing.
There's no office. Never has been. I probably have the most boring office. I get on video calls and it's all white behind me.
Yeah.
But then there's other people that have really elaborate stuff behind them. I should get a green screen.
Yeah.
Right? Then I could be riding a shark or something.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a bit about meetings, and in particular, you and I were talking a bit about how you make this remote, everybody's distributed thing work, and you told me a little bit about your leadership meeting. So I thought maybe you could describe a little bit about it and maybe walk us through the doc you used today.
Yeah, we have an executive meeting once a week, and it's just kind of the meeting we have that helps us stay on top of the day-to-day and the week-to-week of running the company. That checkpoint that's so important to make sure you all are kind of on the same page for certain stuff.
Right.
The executive team, if you get them together, you could spend as much time as you wanted talking about everything. So making sure that it's only an hour constrains us to make sure we're spending time on the most important stuff.
Do you pick ordering for those things?
So the way it works is we have a document. It gets sent out to the team a couple days in advance. And before the meeting, we ask everyone to answer a couple of preset questions. So one is just quick red, yellow, green, check in. How you feeling? How's things going? If things aren't green, what's going on? What's causing your feelings to not be that way? And then what's important for you this week? What's your top things? And then any sort of other news or decisions or important things that the executive team needs to be aware of. Then when we come into the meeting, we spend the first 10 minutes just reading through everybody's updates. No talking, just reading, and then commenting on what we notice in there. And so in that 10 minutes, a lot of the commenting actually sort of covers things that would have been discussion points. At the top of the doc, we have the proposed topics for the week. It's usually oriented around an important decision we need to make. So the team will sort of discuss what is most important in the ordering. Usually there's only 2 or 3 items in this topic. The first item probably gets 30 minutes. Yeah. And then later 2 probably are, 10 minutes or so. And that way, we get all of sort of this just background information out there for the team. And then you leave the rest of the time to dig into the substantive topics that you want to spend time on. And the last thing we do with the doc is just some key KPIs and metrics that just gets pulled in automatically to make sure that everyone's just aware of how are our key metrics trending.
Sounds great. Perfect scenario. So I love I love the ideas. It's actually super close to how we run some of our meetings. I actually added a little thing in ours, which was I had trouble for a while of people showing up on time. So mine also has a little button that says I'm here. You'll watch my staff, and basically everybody's running to the room right at that right at that time. But the idea of everybody just write a little bit of what's going on, and everybody can read it. It's just I think really powerful. I think everyone should do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. Let me start by creating a new doc, and we're going to call it Zapier Leadership Team Meeting. First off, I like to start by picking a good icon. What's a good Zapier icon?
There we go.
Awesome.
Gear pick.
I always like to start every document with what I call a welcome section, which is like orients everybody to the document, and is also a good way to kind of recap for everyone what some of the important principles are. Feel free to add to this list as I go.
Maybe no need for pre-reading. We provide 10 minutes at the beginning. Don't talk about status updates, talk about decisions.
Can I pause for a second? Hello? Yes. Yes. All right. Kind of an emergency. Coda, that's my daughter. All right. No need for pre-reading. 10 minutes to read through everyone's updates.
Use discussion for decisions, not for status updates.
I was going to say discussion topics are submitted by anyone and collectively ranked, which I think that's pretty unique. It's pretty close to how we do a couple things here. Reminder of our KPIs. Okay, those sound like 3 things we can work through.
Yeah.
We can probably do them in that order, actually. That'll work well. Here is the old doc. I'm going to intentionally pick the sort of simplest model of doing this in Coda as possible, and then if we want, we can make it more complicated. But I can find it's good to start as simple as you can. So I was going to make a meeting template. I don't even pick an icon again.
Oh boy, it's the most important job over here. All right, meeting template. Ooh boy.
No shortage of icons.
Yeah. Here, I won't pick the Google Docs icon for you guys.
yeah, that's much appreciated. Yep. All right, and I'm just going to paste that over there. So
I have to edit that part out.
So this is your template you use today. I was just going to just quickly go through and just sort of set up some formatting so we can see the areas. We'll go back through and change some of these in a minute. And I don't know, what would you call it? Updates and sentiments?
You like updates and health checks is what I think I typically call it.
Updates and health check. Sounds great. Yeah, so we're going to make a section for every week. We've got all the different people in here. So we're up and running. I thought we would do a handful of things to sort of codify this a bit. And so the first thing I thought we'd do is take this feeling thing and turn it into a little selector. And I guess you probably want something for not yet answered. We call that blank or something.
Yeah, blank is probably fine.
All right, so now I have a little selector. Let's copy and paste that into everybody's area so you can...
All right, I'll go bottoms.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. For the most part, somebody can come in. Wade's obviously smooth sailing. Fill out their feeling notes and top thing on their list, and then all the commenting and stuff should work basically the same as you're used to already with your Google Doc. The second thing I thought we'd do, if we go back to our welcome area, discussion topics submitted by anyone and collectively ranked. Do you like to know who submitted it, or do you want it to be anonymous?
Yes, it's useful to have know who submitted it.
Okay, one thing I do is you can decide if you like this way or not, is we sort of hide the person's name. It's a little bit of a hint of who added it, but it's not like...
Save some space.
Well, it saves some space. I also think it removes a little bit of like the sort of bias piece of it, of like, hey, we're like, oh, Wade wants to talk about that. We're gonna
vote it up.
Yeah, exactly. I always hide all the upvoters and so on stuff just to kind of clean it up. So this is currently sorted by the vote rate. If we want, we could add something to allow you to override and like do a Wade's vote goes to the top, but I'll leave that alone for now. Yep. So that's the second part. And then the third part, I thought this part would be most fun to do with you, is this self-updating revenue thing at the top. There's a couple different ways we can do it, but I thought the most obvious thing to do would be to use a Zap to do it. So how does it actually work?
So for us, we're pulling our revenue numbers typically from Looker, and so I think we're actually doing like a custom webhook or doing like some code to query against it to pull this into the document on a week-to-week basis.
Got it. I think from HubSpot, probably the easiest thing to do is to do closed deals. So it'll be a little bit different than the way the thing reads right now, but we'll say closed deals. Want to do it? Yeah. So name, stage, and amount. All right. So now I'm going to go over to my favorite tool over here, Zapier. I'm going to click to make a Zap. Choose a trigger app. We'll pick HubSpot, CRM, and let's see, show less common options. I want new deal and stage, I think is probably the closest thing for this trigger. I have to connect an account, set up sales pipeline, I think that's it. So we will create a row, and we pick a document, pick the table. Document has 2 tables in right now, the topic voting one and closed deals. We want closed deals. Now we get to see both our products working together.
Ta-da!
There we go. New small code deal, closed one. All right, and don't forget to turn the Zap on and name it. Just to make this a little bit more full, we're going to mark all those as deals. Let's just do something like deals won in the last week. And so now I can say equals. I'll go get closed deals. I'll filter them down to ones where created on is greater than that date time here. Maybe say last week, so it's -7. And created on is less than date picker. So even within 1 week from that. And just to test that, usually when I write formulas like this, I try to just test it in parts. So right now, 1 deal is coming back. Let's just go adjust 1 so we can see it. And actually, I can even name this thing. So I could call this deals closed in last week. And then I can also say one more time equals. I can now refer to that deals closed in last week. Dot. We have to do dot value dot amount dot sum. So that's how much money we made in the last week. One last thing. So I'm going to create a folder for meeting notes. You want to do the honors? Yeah, so if you just duplicate. So now this is all new data and it's all up and running. I'll drag it into the meeting notes folder and everybody can come in and do their piece. So I missed one step, which was back in our meeting template here. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a button to like tell people before the meeting and then a button to tell people after the meeting. And so before the meeting, I can say, you can do send email. I'll do create drafts so that we can see it. And I'll have the content just be this section. So it'll just be the meeting template. And then you could write another one and say,
meeting summary.
Yeah, post meeting summary. If I go over to Gmail, so now this is sitting in my drafts. I can go clean it up if I want. So that's kind of a nice way, sort of before the meeting, to tell people here's what's coming. So now when you copy it, you can click these things and it'll go create a draft. I kind of like the create a draft thing. It gives me a chance to like just make sure it looks right. Maybe give these some colors so that they stand out a little bit. But yeah, I'm up and running now with a new leadership meeting. I can tell people what's coming up. I can summarize afterwards. We sort of mimicked a little bit how you do it today and just made this part a little bit more user-friendly, but the same rough commenting model and so on should work here. Discussion topics, and then one last thing we did was timely meeting notifications and summaries. Up to date. Thoughts? What do you think?
It's cool.
Yeah?
I love it. I love the topic voting. I think the thing that I'm going to do with this too is auto-generate, like we have a decision framework doc as well. So like if it needs it, we could do like something like generate decision-making doc and create a folder that's for like decisions specifically. That way we don't find ourselves rehashing the same conversations.
Yeah. Actually, we do something pretty similar, put it in here, and what you can probably also do is have a log. And so you can say like, here's a decisions log, and you can just drop a table in there.
Oh, nice,
like,
yeah, it can be a table of contents.
And then what we can do here is we can say, all right, notes, next steps, and we can do a really simple one here that says this will become a button. So that becomes the label here, and the action is add a row to the decision log table where the decision is, we'll start with it just being whatever the topic is here. I think that's kind of it. You just click this thing, and if I come over to the decision log, Coda is awesome is now in there as a pending decision for us to talk about. This is really cool. I actually think this is I think it's a pretty good way to run a staff meeting.
I think so. Yeah, we've added the decision log as the new thing. I like it too.
Yeah.
It's not something we do today, but I am keen to do it.
Yeah. Good. Let's wrap there. Thank you, Wade, for spending the time with us on this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.